Okay, let me set this first. Okay. Good day, class. I hope you are all doing fine as I do. And welcome to another session of learning. I will be your teacher at this point of time, and please bear with me for a couple of minutes as I will be going to present to you a lesson that will help us aspiring teachers to do better in this field. But before we start, I ask you to put yourselves in the holy presence of God as we give Him praise before we proceed. Okay, let's pray first. Dear God, thank you for all the blessings that you showered and currently showering upon us. Thank you for the world and for all the free things that we are actually enjoying. Light, air, water, and everything else. Lord, as we start our lesson for today, may you guide us and bless us with your knowledge and holiness. Allow us to understand all the things that we are going to take this day. Make us effective and useful so we may become an instrument of change. This we ask in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Okay, class, once again, good morning. And at this point, allow me to present myself. I am Max Artem C. Donaire, 19 years old, a Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in English, student at Davao Oriental State University. I find pleasure in teaching, so no wonder why I chose this course. This is also a great opportunity for me to try myself out, virtually at least. I am looking forward that this will be a success, and I do hope that you listen and stay and learn with me today. So, without further ado, let me introduce to you our topic for today. Okay, so our topic for today is technology enhanced lesson using Azure. Okay, but before we dig deep into the details, let us know our objective for today's lesson. Okay, so here are our learning outcomes. At the end of the lesson, you are expected to define what is the Azure model and how is it different or related to other models, to determine what Azure model stands for, and understand how the different steps work in the process. And lastly, to identify the technology enhanced lessons being integrated into different educational settings. Okay, so let's proceed. What is the Azure model of instructional design? So at this point of time, I will be giving you a brief background or information. What is the Azure model? Okay, so Azure model is a procedural guide for planning and delivering instructions that integrates technology and media into the learning process. Okay, so this is somehow related to other models of instructional design that includes planning and implementation. But unlike others, Azure model is specific to the use of technology in the teaching learning process. Okay, so now what are the basic qualities of the Azure model, or what are the things in which we can use to make us say that it is different from the others? Okay, how does it differ from the rest? Okay, so like others, it is an instructional systems design. Okay, so instructional systems design involves a systematic process for the assessment and development of training solutions designed specifically for the purpose of a formal training delivery. Okay, it is specific to the integration of technology in the teaching learning process. So, as I have said earlier, it's closely related to other ISDs. Okay, but this model is concerned with the integration of technology in the process to more effectively deliver the lesson to the students. And lastly, the emphasis is to put on the utilization of technology in the learning process. So in this model, technology plays a big role in the teaching and learning process. For instance, materials and media to be used must be carefully selected and utilized since the application of this entails a lot of consideration in order for it to be effective. Okay, don't worry because we are going to explain it one by one, no, later on. So let's proceed to the next slide. So, in case you are actually wondering, no, you might ask, what does ASSURE stands for? Okay, in the ASSURE model, the letter A stands for Analyze Learners. Okay, why is there a need to analyze the learners? In most approaches, students are the center of the class. Okay, so therefore it is essential to get a clear picture of their interests, the skills, learning preferences, background, and cultural diversity. So when we are planning to introduce and formulate instructions to deliver the lessons, we need to conduct an observation and assessment of our students. Why? Right? Because the school is a place where diversity among students exists. These students might be from different cultural orientation, religion, ethnicity, and of course, behaviors. And if we fail to see this diversity, we are also more likely to fail to achieve success in our cause. Okay, that's for analyze learners. Next is the first S of the ASSURE model, which stands for state objectives. Why do we need to state objectives? What is the reason? Okay. Objective serves as a roadmap that will take you to the target. These are specific outcomes that you are expected to achieve after the end of the lesson as a result of the instruction you utilized. So, after you have a view of your students and you want to formulate a plan of action, it is important to state objectives first. No? This gives you a view of the things that you want to achieve at the end of the lesson. And aside from that, this can also help you to understand what is needed for this plan to work out. For instance, by knowing what you want to achieve, you will be able to identify what materials you will be needing to realize the plan. Okay, that's for state objectives. So, the second S of the ASSURE model stands for select media and materials. So why do we need this one? So what's inside this step? No? So if you wish to deliver the lesson effectively and efficiently, choosing the appropriate media and material in carrying out the task or an activity or the class in general is very important and shouldn't be disregarded. Because choosing the right material and media is very crucial at this point. No? Since we are using the ASSURE model, we are expected to integrate technology in the teaching learning process. There are lessons that can only be presented successfully if the right materials are used. For example, if you are to present the geography of the world, now you are going to present it to the class. So the usage of model of the globe would be great in this case. So as you can see in the slide, no, the teacher is holding a globe. So perhaps they are talking about countries or geography of the world. Okay. Next, the U in the ASSURE model stands for utilize materials. Okay. Having the plans stated and materials to use identified is just the half of the whole process. The implementation of the identified media and materials comes with a whole lot of considerations. So it is not enough that you now have the media and materials needed if you cannot use or maneuver it well. There is a need for you to be knowledgeable how to use these materials in order for it to be meaningful and effective. Another thing, when integrating technology in the learning process, it is also the work of the teacher to constantly provide guidance to students how to use the technology being integrated. For instance, you plan to conduct activity in a computer room. So, you must instruct and provide guidance to those students who are not that good or familiar how to use the technology. So next is the R in the Assure model, which stands for Require Learner Performance. So what's in this step? Okay. With all plans, media, and materials identified and used, the next step is to check whether the learners get something about the lesson. Students must realize that they are responsible for their own learning and teachers are mere instruments for them to achieve knowledge. Okay, so as much as possible now in this step, encourage your students to be participative and interactive during classes. Active participation improves knowledge retention. No? And aside from this, you must make them realize that teachers are merely facilitators of learning. And no matter how hard we teach, we are responsible, the students are responsible for their own learning. Take also in consideration that students have multiple intelligences, so you better understand when someone has a hard time absorbing the lesson, because there are students who are they learn much faster and effective if there are visuals, and some are good listeners. Some are neither but are good in drawing, painting, music, and whatever talents they possess or whatever intellect they possess. So as a teacher, you must understand that the students have different skills, and therefore we cannot apply a standard instruction or a standard model of learning. We need to be flexible. But as much as possible now, when we are teaching after discussion, we must require a learner performance. At least they will become more interactive and participative, and the chance of a knowledge retention is high. Okay. So next slide. So the last but definitely not the least is the E in the Assure model, which stands for evaluate or to revise. Okay, so what's inside this step? It is necessary to assess the learning of the students. With this, you can see whether the instructional method is effective or not, or does it need polishing or revision. So assessment of students would be great at the end of the lesson. No? That is what our teachers usually do after discussion. Maybe oral discussion or short quizzes. Okay. So while details are still fresh, take that opportunity to test their knowledge. And also with this, it promotes lesson retention, as I have said earlier. And by evaluating, you will be able to see what are the things that are needed to be enhanced. And the more you enhance your instructions, the more you get closer to mastery. Okay, so at this point of time, I will be giving you examples of technology enhanced learning. So specifically during discussions, no? So during discussions, there are teachers utilize different technologies. Like for example, this one, the using of TV or computers in delivering the lessons. So what are the activities during discussions the teacher use of technology? For example, movie viewing. Okay, we will be needing a television or laptops in this case in order for the teachers to show us videos or movies, because there are lessons that can be effectively delivered if we are going to have a video presentation or maybe a movie viewing. And of course, after the movie viewing, the teacher will give us activity, like for example, give you a reflection or findings or analysis about the movie, no? So this usually happens in during discussion. Another one is PowerPoint presentation, right? And during, of course, PowerPoint presentation, we use laptops or projectors, or we connect our laptops into TV to project what is in our laptop. Because during discussions now, sometimes it's hard and it's time consuming to write everything in the blackboard. So we utilize technology during discussions, and PowerPoint presentation is one good way to present the lesson. Okay, so that's during discussions. So another one is the utilization of mock-ups or representational objects. During discussions, this usually happens in science classes now. When we are trying to present the parts, let's say for example, here, if you want to present the digestive system, you cannot bring actual dead person and show the internal organs. We don't do that. So instead we bring representational objects so we can show the actual parts. We use that for demonstration, no? As you can see here in the slide, is that demonstrating the internal organs of a human person using a representation, specifically the human torso, no? And aside from this, we use other objects to stand as an example, no? So yes, we utilize mock-ups or representational objects during discussions, and those are examples of technology enhanced learning strategies, because based on what we initially understand, technology is not limited to computers, cell phones, television. Well, we have what we call educational technology. And these objects, these mock-ups, representational objects, and anything that we can use as we can use an example during demonstrations, those are still technology. So, next, examples of technology enhanced learning that we are using during when our teachers are giving projects or assignments. So in this, we utilize tools and equipment for video recording. This is just an example. There are lots of ways and instructions that our teachers are giving if they want to give us projects or assignments, and this is just an example. Okay, we use tools and equipment for video recording, most especially in movie making, no? To cite a specific example, during my grade 10 level, um, in Filipino subject specifically, we were asked to reenact the El Filibusterismo. No, we were asked to make a movie. Okay, so we went outside and wear costumes and shoot ourselves. No, yeah, we really make a movie. And of course, just like what we experienced in the past weeks, we are asked to make a pre-recorded video of our reports, since our learning is virtual and we don't have a face-to-face. So one convenient way that we can actually present our topic or to report is through a pre-recorded video. And what are the technologies that we use when we are doing pre-recorded video? Of course, we have our laptops, our cell phone for recording, and there are also softwares that we use in video making. So the first one, in PPT making, we have a PowerPoint presentation app, no? And in making the video, we have um, Filmora Go, Power Director, we have CapCut, and all other softwares that we use in making pre-recorded videos. Class, at this point of time, I will be giving you a short assessment so I can check what have you learned during discussion. Yeah, of course, I will not know if you cheated or not, but I am hopeful and I trust you to be honest in this assessment. No? Just try to answer the questions. Now I will be displaying the questions and the choices, and I will be giving you maybe 5 to 10 seconds to answer. And just be honest about your learning. You will not need a paper or whatsoever that you can write your answers upon. Just be honest, no? Keep your answers in your mind, and I will be displaying the answer afterward. Okay, so are you ready? Okay, I guess you are ready. So let's start the first question. Okay. The Assure model doesn't concern the integration of technology in the teaching learning process. True or false? Again, I will read it once again. True or false? The Assure model doesn't concern the integration of technology in the teaching learning process. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so do you have the answer? So I think yes. So the correct answer is false. Of course, it is false because the Assure model is an instructional design that concerns the integration of technology in the teaching learning process. The Assure model always involves technology in the process. So in this case, the answer is false. Okay. Next question. In the Assure model, R stands for what? A. Request learning performance. B. Review learner portfolio. Or C. Require learner performance. Again, in the Assure model, R stands for what? Request learning performance. That's A. Now B. Review learner portfolio. Or C. Require learner performance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so do you have the answer now? Okay, let's check. So the correct answer is letter C, require learner performance. So during this discussion or after discussion, even if we consider that students have multiple intelligences, as much as possible, we must require learner performance so that the students will be more interactive and participative. In that case, it will promote knowledge retention, no? As I have said earlier. So the correct answer for this is letter C, require learner performance. Okay, another question. The following are the importance of stating objectives, except. So stating objectives is the first S of the Assure model, no? Mind you. So the question, the following are the importance of stating objectives, except. Okay, A. To serve as a roadmap toward the target. B. To give a view of what are to achieve. C. To assess the student's knowledge after the end of the lesson. Or D. To help you conceptualize a plan of action. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so do you have the answers now? Okay, let's check what is the correct answer, class. The answer is letter C. To assess the student's knowledge after the end of the lesson. Why? Because letter C is not part of the importance of stating the objectives. Specifically, letter C can be fall into the E of the Assure model, or the evaluate or revise, no? To assess the student's knowledge. That's evaluation. So A, B, and D are the importance of setting objectives. As I have said earlier, it serves as a roadmap, no? Towards target, and it gives you a view of what to achieve, and of course it will help you conceptualize a plan of action. Okay, so the exception of this one here is letter C. Okay, guys, so how much did you get? Did you get 3 over 3? That's excellent. Okay, 2 over 3. That's fair. Okay, 1 over 3. If you got 1 over 3 or 0 out of 3, do not worry. I have this video here. You can watch it from the start and learn from it. No, it doesn't matter as long as you have the courage to pursue learning. There's nothing wrong, and you shouldn't be afraid and be ashamed of your score. So all in all, you made a good job actually. So as a conclusion of today's discussion, The Assure model is very useful and important in achieving your goal to deliver the lessons to students if you wish to integrate technology into the teaching learning process. Yes, because we are actually living in the 21st century where the use of technology is very evident, and we cannot deny that fact. And we need to be competent in terms of utilization of technology in this modern world. Indeed, the utilization of technology in the teaching learning process is making the job and learning of students much easier. So in the case of teachers, not the presentation of lessons and the delivery of the tasks and activities, and how you present the lesson are now much easier compared to before, and that as a students learn the lessons easily because there are lots of sources of information. Now, we still books are still applicable, no? That's the traditional, but we also have the internet and for example, Google, no, where we can search for informations because there are lots of people sending information there, where we can get ideas, no. So our only concern is to find relevant information and avoid irrelevant and misleading information. But we must also remember that mastery doesn't happen instantly. Of course, it takes time, it takes a lot of time and effort to be more effective. But one thing is for sure, a sure model is a way we can achieve our aim more efficiently. Yes, of course. Yeah, in this modern world where we live in a place where technology is evident, let us take advantage of that and use that for our own development. And a Assure model, no, as a instructional model which integrates technology into the teaching learning process. This is very important and it plays a big role for both teachers and learners to achieve development. So, yes, that's it for today class, and I hope you learned something from my discussion. And pursue your dreams, do good, do great, continue to pursue knowledge and develop yourself because there are always room for improvement. So this is me, Teacher Max, leaving you a big bright smile.